Hi everyone, this is Laura and I'll be your instructor for this course. This course is for anyone who has something to promote but very small budget or no budget at all to invest in advertising. I'll teach you how to master social media to reach your target audience and increase your sales. We'll be starting off with a self-assessment. There is a PDF you can download to test your knowledge of social media before we get into the actual course. You will review this document at the end of the course to see how far you've come and to check whether you're ready to proceed with your final assignment. Our first section will be about the fundamentals of marketing. We'll review the most important concepts anywhere from segmentation to product positioning. Then we'll move on to a section that will introduce you to the world of social media. You'll understand what they are, what they can do for you, and most importantly, we'll introduce the editorial plan and the editorial calendar. You'll be provided with templates that will make your life so much easier. We'll then have three main sections, one about Facebook, one about Twitter, and the third one about Instagram. An additional section will be dedicated to niche social media sites. You will learn how to master these tools, and I'll share some little secrets that will make your activity more efficient and effective. We'll then move on to community management. A company does not need customers, it needs fans, and you'll learn how to turn your audience into an army of fans and make each single customer a brand ambassador that will spread your word for you. Then we'll have a section fully dedicated to blogging, to understanding how to blog with purpose and use a blog to create an additional income stream. You wouldn't mind making some money on the side, would you? Another section will provide you with all the instruments you need to monitor your social media and blogging activity, and you'll be able to produce a fantastic analytics report. No worries, you'll get a template for that one as well. We will conclude our journey with a case study about The Dark Knight Rises to see why its campaign was crowned best social media campaign ever and what you can learn from it. First of all, I'm super passionate about what I do. The first time I had seen a website, I immediately thought I had to learn how to create one. Since then, I never stopped learning anything from web design to online marketing. In terms of education, I have a background in business, innovation management, and entrepreneurship. My skills, passion, and enthusiasm led me to create the largest online community of Leonardo DiCaprio fans and work for some of the most famous brands in the movie industry. I also worked as a community manager on various projects related to the Great Gatsby movie. Then I specialize in community management for startups and entrepreneurs. I also ended up teaching my own community management course in the context of various master's programs throughout Italy. And now, here I am. I want to specify that no one is paying me for promoting any tool that I mentioned throughout the course. If I tell you that something is useful and works really well, it's because I have tried it and it worked well for me. There is no specific requirement for attending this course, except for one. You need to be passionate. No matter how good I can be, no matter how valuable the information I share with you, you won't get anywhere without putting your heart into it. Be open to learning and to success, and I promise you are going to love this exciting journey. Now I think we are ready to start. I'll see you in our next lecture. Throughout history, anyone who had a product or service to sell had to find a way to get his brand out there and make actual sales. The ultimate goal of anyone who has something to sell has always been the same. What has changed is the strategy and the means available to achieve that goal. Think about it. As new communication technologies appeared on the market, we came up with new ways to promote our stuff. We used catalogs, then transitioned to print ads like newspapers or magazines or billboards, then moved on to radio and then TV adverts. Then call centers started to appear and then the magic happened. The internet. Even since the internet appeared, we experienced significant changes in the way we promote our products and services. We went from static websites to the so-called Web 2.0, and we saw the appearance of things like inbound marketing, mobile marketing, video marketing, content marketing, and social media marketing. But one thing has always been constant, that is, in fact, always marketing. This is why in this section we are going to explore the fundamentals of marketing. But first, let's take a look at how the so-called traditional marketing differs from digital marketing. While traditional marketing is a one-way communication, digital marketing is an actual conversation with your target customers. Just think about it as a customer. If you open a newspaper or a magazine and see an advert that you don't like at all, there's nothing you can do about it. Sure, you can talk about it with some friends, but this will most likely have no effects on the brand who paid to have their ad printed on the magazine. And, most importantly, no other reader will know that you don't like the ad. Instead, if you see that same company posting that very same ad on Facebook, you can simply and easily share your opinion in the comment section below the post, and your message will be read by the publisher and all other users will display the ad. For a company, this means that an online advertising campaign needs constant attention and monitoring, and also a policy that dictates how comments like yours should be moderated. This might sound very negative and complicated, but it can actually be very positive because you have the chance to actually listen to your customers and make changes based on their preferences, and their preferences is what really matters in the end. I also just said that you can make changes, because you can, and you can also do that very fast with online ads. This is impossible with traditional advertising. Think about the time and resources you need to print and install a large billboard or an ad on a monthly magazine. Once it's done, it's done. You can't change it. Instead, if you understand that a Facebook ad or Twitter ad is not working, you can change it on the spot for no additional costs. The third huge difference is that now everybody can advertise. This course would not exist if the web didn't offer affordable or even totally free opportunities for people like you and me, who might have just launched their product, service, or business in general, or plan to do so in the near future. But why is it cheaper to promote online? Because of the lower demand and supply. When the supply increases, the price drops. And the supply is so high as there are so many places on the internet where you could advertise your product. Not only advertising online is cheaper than traditional advertising, but it's also smarter, because you can be very, very specific in defining your audience. But we'll discuss this aspect more in depth when we talk about Facebook advertising, as I think this is currently the best option in terms of strategic targeting. I'm not saying that it is wrong to invest in traditional marketing, because it still works perfectly for some types of products. But, well, you surely have realized that the whole world has transitioned into a very digital environment. Magazines are going digital, we perform many of our daily tasks online, such as banking online or reading books on our e-readers. We are in the so-called digital age, and it definitely makes sense to invest in a digital campaign. If you can afford a traditional campaign, the two types of marketing can coexist, but I would not recommend to go exclusively for the traditional approach. And I assume you agree with me as you've joined this course. Hi! In this lecture, we are going to talk about what a vision is and why you need one. We'll then move on to the importance of establishing clear objectives for your business and conclude discussing targets and segmentation. The first thing you need to define when planning your marketing strategy is your vision, a sort of mental picture or where you want to get a few months or years from now. It should function as a roadmap for your future. After having a clear picture in mind, you need to write it down and produce what is called a vision statement. In practical terms, the vision statement should indicate what you intend to achieve over time. The words you choose will guide each single one of your future activities. When you're uncertain about whether or not you should do something, you will simply have to ask yourself, is this going to help me achieve my vision? If the answer is no, then don't do it. As easy as that. This will help you stay focused on what really matters. Your goals and objectives should naturally flow out of your vision statement and should be both short-term and long-term. Setting concrete objectives will help you stay motivated every day. Think of specific, realistic, measurable goals and give yourself a time frame to achieve those goals. Only if you set clear goals will you be able to evaluate how you're doing. With digital marketing, this is particularly important. When it comes to your online presence, you need to understand what key performance indicators are most relevant for you and decide what is for you a good result. Let's assume that an average of 10 people interact with each of your Facebook posts. Is it good? It depends. You can answer this question if and only if you have a clear goal. Maybe you've launched your Facebook page just a couple of days ago and your goal for the first month was to have 20 people interacting with each post. In that case, the answer would be, this is great. If your goal was to have 100 interactions per post after a week, maybe you're not doing as great as you expected to. But you see, if you don't clearly set your goals, the answer to the is it good question will always be, it depends. One important thing that stands between you and your goals is understanding your target customers. Marketing is all about exchanging value. You give something to your customers that is of value for them and you get profits in return. This means that you need to understand who exactly you want to address, whose needs you want to satisfy. To better understand the profile of your ideal customer, try to divide your target market into various meaningful segments. You can use various criteria as a basis for market segmentation. For example, geography, dividing potential customers by region or climate. Demographic data can also be used as a basis for segmentation. You can separate customers for their age, gender, or income levels. You can use psychographics, looking at things like lifestyle or personality. Or maybe usage rate. Are you looking at people who have already bought your product before or at first-time buyers? Choose the variables that you think are important for your product and your business. After carefully segmenting the target market, you may choose to target one or more of the segments you found. This process will help you define a strategy to market your product to each single segment that is much more effective than a one-size-fits-all approach. In our next lecture, we'll keep talking about how to define your marketing strategy. See you there. To define a successful marketing strategy, not only you need to understand your customers, but you need to also have a clear idea of how your product or service fits into the competitive environment. First of all, you need to identify your competitors. You should consider both your direct competitors and your indirect competitors. Direct competitors are your primary foes. For an airline, for example, let's say for British Airways, a direct competitor could be another airline, obviously. However, sometimes the most dangerous competitors are the indirect ones. These guys compete with you for market share, but they do so with a different product configuration or sometimes with a completely different product. Can you imagine a company launched a service that many see as a substitute product to air travel? The answer is Skype. It might sound surprising, but many people who used to fly to other countries for business meetings now can simply use Skype for conference calls. This example shows that you must carefully examine the market to identify every possible source of competition. But after that, you need to understand how you can get a competitive advantage and capture a share of your competitor's business. Generally, there are two types of competitive advantage: cost advantage and differentiation advantage. In the first case, that is cost advantage, your product offers the same value as that of your competitors, but you charge a lower price. In the case of differentiation advantage, you want to be different with respect to your competitors. You deliver something that is unique. Maybe your product is made of higher quality materials, maybe you employ a special technology to manufacture your product, or maybe you offer a series of complementary services that make your offering different from anything else that is on the market. Now, many people who want to start a blog or an online business struggle to find something that is original, as they feel that all good ideas are taken. The truth is that whatever topic you want to talk about in your blog, in your ebook, or anything like that, you can talk about it in a different way than anyone else does. Because remember, you already have something unique, that is you. So as long as you let your personality emerge, your product will necessarily be different. What you have to work on, and what I'm sure this course will help you with, is understanding how to communicate to your customers that your product is unique. We will discuss this in more details in our next lecture. As an entrepreneur, I'm sure you either have launched your business or you have at least an idea. Your product or service is unique for some reason, and you know it. However, it doesn't matter whether your competitive advantage is based on cost or differentiation. What really matters is how your customers perceive it. After segmenting your market and choosing the market segments that you want to target, it's time to position your product. Product positioning is the image that a product occupies in the mind of the customer compared to the competitor's product. You basically want to create the message that will allow you to reach your target group. Be careful. Positioning is not what you do to the product itself, but to the mind of the customers. You want to make your customers perceive your product in a certain way. And you do this by modifying, for example, the name of the product, its price, or its packaging, but not the product itself. It's all about the message that you convey to each customer segment. Generally, the message you choose should make your target customers understand how you can help them solve a problem or create an opportunity. Let's look at some concrete examples. If we talk about chocolate, I'm sure you think of two completely different things if I mention Ferrero Rocher and M&M's. The first one is of medium high quality and its high price reflects this. The second one is a low quality and low cost chocolate. This is how they position themselves. This is the image that they created in your mind. An important part of product positioning is the name of your brand. There is a great quote saying, "The brand name is like a knife that cuts the mind to let the brand message inside." It's not about having a name that simply sounds good, but that is capable of conveying the message that you want to convey. Also, when you come up with a new name for your brand or product, make sure to always Google it. You might find that someone else is already using an identical or very similar version for their business, and this could confuse your customers. But now I have a homework for you. Pick an industry of your choice and think of 4 different brands within that industry. Then write down the first 3 words that each of these brands makes you think of. You will unveil their positioning strategy by simply doing this. This will teach you that whenever you ask yourself whether your product positioning reflects your intended strategy, you can simply ask some of your customers. Pick one and ask them the first 3 words that they associate to your product. That's it. So now that we've covered the fundamentals of marketing, it's time to dive deep into the really fun stuff. In our next lecture, we'll start discussing social media and why they are a trend that you just cannot afford to miss. See you there. I can't wait. Hi there. Now this is where the real fun begins. Ready? I'm sure you are. First of all, let's understand what a social media site actually is. It is also called social networking website, and it's an online platform that allows users to create a personal profile and interact with other users on that same website. The types of interactions vary on each social network, but they all give users an opportunity to connect with other people. Do you know how many people are on Facebook? As of the second quarter of 2015, Facebook had 1.49 billion monthly active users. On August 28th, 1 billion people logged onto Facebook. As Zuckerberg said, that means 1 in 7 people on Earth who is not on Facebook typically has an account on at least another social media site. It's clear that social media is a huge, dynamic part of modern life. For you as an entrepreneur, it is an opportunity for your business to enter the lives of billions of people and improve your company's reputation and results. But let's see the various opportunities offered by social media. Obviously, you can expand your reach. It doesn't matter whether you're looking for customers that are from the other side of the world. You have no boundaries on social media. You can obtain incredible visibility and awareness for your brand, products, or services with targeted customers. You can also investigate customer preferences. People talk on social media. This means you have the chance to listen to what they say. If you listen carefully, you can get valuable first-hand insights into their preferences, problems, challenges, and needs. As a matter of fact, I believe this is one of the primary reasons why your brand should be on social media. So far, we've said that you have improved access to your target customers and you can listen to their conversations to investigate their preferences. This is why it's easier to capture leads on social media. A lead is a potential sales contact, someone who has expressed interest in what you do, which means that he or she is likely to actually purchase your product or service. Through social media, you can share valuable content to grab attention of potential customers and give them a reason to give you their contact information, be it an email address, a phone number, their mailing address, or any other useful information you might need. Once you've captured a lead, you need to take action to make sure the potential customer becomes an actual customer. You can do this by feeding your contact with additional content, and social media can obviously help you do this. Being active on social media, you can optimize your time and resources and easily deal with complaints or support queries openly and honestly. Let's assume 50 of your customers have the same problem with your product. If you are not on social media, these 50 people have no choice but calling you or emailing you to know how their problem can be solved. If you are on social media, you can just share the solution in a post and you are saving so much time because none of your customers has to email you. However, many people are still convinced that there is no need for being on social media. In our next lecture, we'll explore the kind of excuses they used to make up to justify their position. Ultimately, I think there is no good reason not to get your business on social networks. I will see you in our next lecture. In my experience of working with startups, I've seen 6 most common excuses that people use to justify the fact that they are not on social media. Let's look at each of those and see why they are nothing but excuses. I don't know anything about social media. Do you really think that Einstein already knew anything about mathematics before he even began to study it? Of course not. There is just one way to get some knowledge about any topic, and that's studying. Remember, in anything you do, there is no substitute for hard work. If there is something you don't know, just learn it. That's why you joined this course, right? Some people say, I'm too old for social media. Really? Let me show you one thing. This is a photo of an Italian pop singer called Gianni Morandi. This picture was taken in 1962, the year of his debut into the music world. These other pictures are just examples of the so-called selfies that he personally shares every day on his Facebook page. He's 70 years old now, and he just received an award as a Social Media Personality of the Year. His success on Facebook prompted him to expand to Instagram as well. As of today, he counts more than 2 million fans on Facebook and 90,000 followers on Instagram. And I repeat, he's 70 years old. Do you still think you're too old for social media? Others say, I already tried and it didn't work. Most of these people who say that social media doesn't work generally had a friend of a distant relative who uses Facebook every day open a Facebook page for their company. Probably this guy set a random cover image and the company logo as the page avatar and then left it there, empty, with no activity. That's not how social media works. You need to create constant interaction and engagement with your audience. Others are convinced that people will use social media to say bad things about them and their company. Sure, people will talk on social media, as we said already. But remember, they are going to talk about you and your brand anyways. In fact, they are already talking about you. But if you provide them a space to do so, you will have more control over your conversations. You will be able to respond to their comments and queries. Others say that they don't have time to maintain social media. Well, there is a great quote that says that you have as many hours in a day as Beyoncé. And that is true. This holds for life in general. If you can't find the time to do it, you don't really care about it. As easy as that. Time is always an excuse. In our next lectures, we're also going to explore some ways to optimize your work so that it takes you a shorter amount of time to do everything you want to do, such as scheduling posts on Facebook and Twitter and automating your Instagram activity. Another common excuse is, I have no budget to maintain social media. Well, let me give you a great news. Facebook is free. Twitter is free. Instagram is free as well. Most social networks can be used for free. Sure, it's always better to have a budget for paid advertising, but it's not necessary. Moreover, if you just spend $1 on social media, remember that it is not a cost. It's an investment. Now I have homework for you. Pick 3 of your friends who run a business, any kind of business, but are not on social media, and ask them why and take note of their answers. If their excuse is not among those that we discussed today, please post it in our discussion section because I'd love to hear it. When speaking about social media, we can think of an incredibly long list of social networking sites. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo, Google+, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, LiveJournal, Foursquare, and so on and so forth. However, this does not mean that you need to use all of these platforms to create a great online presence for your brand. Efficiency is the key. You shouldn't try to spread yourself too thin, using too many platforms but without being able to manage each single one of them the way you should. Instead, you have to understand which social media site is appropriate for your business and focus on that one. Maybe 2, but no more than 3, at least in the beginning. Social media sites are not interchangeable. Each of them facilitates interactions between members and creates a community of people, but on each social media site, the community has gone through a different evolution. This is because each social media site has a different audience, and different features you find on those sites are the result of users' preferences. This means that you need to find out where exactly your potential customers are. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Do they use Instagram? In the course materials for this lecture, you can find a table with some demographic data about the audience of the most important social media sites. Those data will be very useful to you, but you shouldn't limit yourself to demographics. Another important factor to consider is the type of content that a specific social media site is based on. For example, YouTube is a video-based site. Will you have video materials to share? Will videos be useful for you to promote your brand? Instead, LinkedIn is a business social network. Is your content suitable to the kind of conversation that people have on LinkedIn? Foursquare, another example, is a location-based site. If you sell online and you don't have a physical location that your customers can visit, then Foursquare is not for you. As a third aspect, you should consider which social media site resonates with you. Whatever you do online, you should do it enthusiastically. If you don't have that enthusiasm, people will notice. There is no way to fake enthusiasm. So, if for any reason you think that one specific social network is not for you, that's okay. Just focus on a different one. I personally know many people who decided, for example, to avoid Facebook at all, and they are still pretty successful. However, this clearly means that they had to compensate with a super powerful presence on another social media site. Also, don't forget that you should never put all your eggs in one basket. The social media landscape is ever changing, and regardless of what sites you choose, it's always better to build a following in more than one of them. In this course, we are going to focus on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as they are the ones that, in my experience, work best for most type of businesses, especially small ones. Then we are going to talk about niche social media sites, what they are, and why you should pay attention to them. I'll see you in our next lecture. After working on all the things we discussed in our previous section about marketing and reflecting upon how to use social media to benefit your brand and choose the most appropriate social media sites for you, it's time to actually start planning your social media strategy. In this lecture, we are going to look at the general framework you should use to plan your social media strategy. There are 2 main tasks you need to complete here. First, you need to create an editorial plan. Second, you need to produce an editorial calendar. Now, most people think that these two things are exactly identical, but they are not. They are completely different. An editorial plan is the roadmap for your strategy. In the course materials for this lecture, you can find a sample template of what I mean by an editorial plan. If you open it, you will see that it should contain the following key information: a presentation of your brand, a description of your target customers, what your main goals are, what social media channels you are going to use to promote your brand and why, what kind of materials you are going to post, at what times of the day you are going to post, and how you are going to evaluate your results. By now, you should be able to complete at least the first 3 points. Throughout the course, you will learn how to complete all the others. But why is the editorial plan so important? Most people think that only social media agencies should do this for their clients, to make them understand how they are going to operate and what their client is paying them for. I found out that doing this just for yourself will create a unique sense of awareness of what you are doing and how you are going to operate on social media. One thing is having your strategy in a corner of your mind, another thing is reading it written on a piece of paper. Obviously, when I do it for my clients, I create a beautifully designed piece of work that looks more like an actual book or company report. You don't necessarily need to do that if you are just creating the editorial plan for yourself. But I strongly recommend you to print everything once you completed every section. This will help you visualize and internalize the steps you have to take. After completing the editorial plan, it's time to work on the editorial calendar. In the lecture materials, you can also find a template for that. It is an Excel file, but you can also create a spreadsheet on Google Docs if it is more convenient for you. Anyways, it is basically a publishing schedule indicating what you're going to post and when. You might want to plan your updates maybe a week ahead or a month ahead. It's really up to you. In any case, the editorial calendar will help you visualize everything you post and give structure to your creativity. By planning your posts ahead of time, you also drive perseverance and you keep yourself motivated every day. Please note that both the editorial plan and calendar are always evolving. Through time, for example, you might see that you need to change your strategy a little bit, or maybe the times during the day when you post your updates. So you should periodically update your editorial plan and print out the new version to keep yourself on track. Same for the editorial calendar. Maybe you feel you need to add another column or any other useful information. The template I provide is really a generic one, so make sure you edit it so that it works for you. I'll see you in our next lecture. So what is Facebook? It's currently the largest social network in the world. With such a large user base, ignoring Facebook really isn't an option for most marketers. Facebook has 3 tools: pages, ads, and groups that can be used by anyone. Each of these options has its own purpose, and they can be combined for greater reach. In this lecture, we'll discuss the basics of Facebook and start talking about Facebook pages. Then we'll have 2 more lectures that will explore more in-depth pages and what they can do for you. We'll then move on to Facebook ads and Facebook groups. Let's start with the basics. I'm pretty sure you already have a Facebook profile, but just in case, let's discuss what you see as a logged-in Facebook user. You have a personal profile that is called your timeline that includes a profile picture and cover photo, as well as a series of other personal information such as your employment history or your relationship status. Obviously, this information is optional. It's called a timeline because you can include information, important milestones, and memories spanning your entire life. Once you've filled out a good portion of your timeline, you can start searching for and adding so-called friends. Search for them in the search box that appears on the top of the page. Finding friends on Facebook is incredibly important, not simply to connect for connection's sake, but to stay up to date on your friends' latest news, thoughts, activities, and tastes. And the place to access that information is your newsfeed. The newsfeed is the first thing you see once you have logged in. There you'll view friends' status updates, new photos, links to articles, etc., and the contents posted by the pages that you like. You can interact with each post by liking it, commenting on it, or sharing it on your own timeline. Needless to say, Facebook can be an enormous source of distraction. I personally used to waste a lot of time checking out everything that appeared on my newsfeed until I found a free plugin that tremendously increased my productivity. It's called Facebook Purity. You can just Google it and install it in your browser, and it will give you the option to hide your timeline completely. It might prove incredibly useful when you have to concentrate on something. If Facebook Purity doesn't work in your browser, you can also use another plugin called Social Fixer. Most entrepreneurs, especially those that are just at the beginning of their journey, do everything by themselves. If this is your case, you just cannot afford to waste precious time. There is one important rule you need to remember. According to Facebook's terms of use, only real people, individuals, can have a Facebook profile. For anything else, that is your brand, your product, your website, your whatever, you need to create a Facebook page. Facebook pages are similar to profiles, but for businesses, organizations, and public figures. Users can like a page, which means they automatically receive updates from that page in their newsfeed. While profiles require a mutual relationship between friends, pages can be liked by anyone without a requirement for the page creator to accept a fan. They also don't have a restriction on the number of fans that they can have, like profiles, which are limited to 5,000 friends. Facebook pages are the simplest, easiest way to start marketing with Facebook. They are free, relatively easy to set up, at least in their basic forms, and incredibly flexible. Each page has a profile photo and cover image. Your profile photo should be your logo, or if you don't have one, a representative image of your product. Remember that the picture you choose should be recognizable even in a very small size. The cover image will enhance your page and draw the eye of your visitors. It's really up to you to choose what you put there, but there are some rules you should respect. Covers can't be deceptive, misleading, or infringe on anyone else's copyright. You can't encourage people to upload your cover to their personal timelines, and you should not include too much text. At the moment, it is unclear what percentage of text with respect to the total surface of the image Facebook allows, but let's say you should try to keep it visual. Make sure you do not hide any content behind the profile photo. Instead, try to balance your design by placing some elements on the right. Create a design that is consistent with your website or your product design. You can also add a call to action and a link in the image description. After creating your page design, you are ready to start filling out all the other details. According to the category you choose for your page, you will be asked to insert some kind of specific information. For example, if you create a page for a movie, you can specify the name of the director, the plot, the cast, and other relevant information that you will not find, for instance, in the website category. Just visit the information section and complete all the fields. Awesome! Now you are ready to start updating your page with actual content. Something I love about Facebook is that you can schedule your updates. Instead of hitting the Publish button, just select Schedule, and then choose a time and a date. And that's it. This is another great way to optimize your time and efforts. You can schedule your posts 1 week ahead or even 1 month ahead, which is awesome. But make sure you check your page daily anyways, because there may be comments to moderate or messages to reply to. We'll discuss more about content in our next lecture, so I'll see you there. Here we are again. What you post to your wall will appear in the news feeds of the users who have liked your page. So make sure that what you're posting is relevant and useful to your fans. Don't be redundant, post different things, and also don't post too much, or you could be annoying for your fans. As a rule of thumb, don't post more than 3 or 4 updates per day. Here are some ideas for the kinds of things that you may post. Maybe links to articles related to your product, brand, or your industry. Maybe links to your blog posts. Maybe coupon codes for fans to save on your products, or links to online resources your fans might find useful. Make sure that anything you post is valuable. We said that marketing is an exchange. Your fans give you their time and attention, and in exchange, you need to give them useful content and information. Try to get people involved. Asking questions is generally a great way to do that. What you ask depends largely on your product or your niche. Ask open-ended questions, it usually works best. Also, asking opinions on a new product idea or project can be a good way to convince your fans that your company cares about what their needs and wants are. Even if your Facebook page is certainly a way for you to advertise your product, try not to be too commercial, too selly. That is one of the quickest ways to lose fans. Before you post anything, ask yourself if it honestly adds value to the conversation. If it doesn't, don't post it. A higher level of user engagement on Facebook leads you to expand the reach of your Facebook posts due to what's called Facebook's EdgeRank. EdgeRank.net has a great definition of it. EdgeRank is the Facebook algorithm that decides which stories appear in each user's newsfeed. The algorithm hides boring stories, so if your story doesn't score well, no one will see it. Any action performed by your page, for example sharing a link, posting a photo, etc., is a potential newsfeed story, and Facebook calls these actions edges. To make sure that each user is not overwhelmed by an infinite amount of information on his or her newsfeed, Facebook created an algorithm to predict how interesting each story will be to each user. What Facebook basically does is ranking the edges, that's why it's called EdgeRank. In 2007 already, a Facebook engineer admitted that only about 0.2% of the content published actually ends up into a user's newsfeed. Put in other words, this means that your post is competing with other 499 posts for a slot in a user's newsfeed. Even if many of the components of the algorithm are still unknown, we do know for sure that a huge part is played by the so-called edge weight. The more actions users perform on your post, likes, comments, or shares, the higher the edge weight of that post, with comments apparently weighing more than likes. Remember, anything can be shared in a way that captures and engages your audience. Let's take a look at a great example. This post is a very bad one. No valuable information, no outstanding graphics, no engaging copy. Now, look at this other one. This is awesome. It engages the audience and at the same time it can collect valuable information for Walmart in terms of customer preferences. It's simply great. It doesn't take much to turn a very cold content into an engaging one. Add one question, ask for people's opinion, ask them to tag their friends in the comment section, and you will certainly see the difference. Now, because practice makes perfect, I want you to find some ideas. So take a look at the material for this lecture and download the special exercise. You will discover a section of posts that I found online and that I think could be definitely improved. Try to modify each of them, making it more engaging for fans. It's going to be fun. Hi there. In this lecture, you're not going to see me. You're just going to hear me. This is because I really want you to focus on what's important, that is Facebook's Insights panel. Facebook will automatically pick some pages that have similar audience to your page, and you can add these pages to the Pages to Watch section. Facebook is not simply an advertising channel. It is also a very powerful tool to perform market research. Accessing your Pages Insights panel, you get access to a whole lot of information that will give you actual insights into customer preferences and habits that will be useful for you to maybe change your editorial plan. That's why I previously mentioned that the editorial plan is ever-changing, because it evolves as you collect more data about your customers, and Facebook plays a key role here. Now, start by visiting your page and clicking the Insights button at the top of your screen. The first section you see here shows data about last week. Under Page Likes, you can look at how many fans liked your page this week compared to last week. If these numbers are different, make an effort to understand why. Did you change your strategy? Did something happen that increased or decreased interest in your page? Post reach is the number of unique people who have seen your posts this week and over the last week. This could be fans or friends of your friends. Again, compare the two numbers, and if they're different, ask yourself why. Your reach is usually positively correlated with the numbers you find in the third column related to engagement. This is because of the EdRank that we already discussed. More interactions with your posts equals more people seeing your posts. Underneath these three columns, you find some additional information. There is a list of your 5 most recent posts with the number of interactions they generated and the people they reached, a great tool to see what worked best or worst. You can also add your competitors' pages to this list to track their performance. If any competitor performs really well, it's useful to see why, so you can get some ideas. You can see the percentage change here. Now let's move on to the likes section. Total page likes gives you the trend of your likes. Using the graph above, you can specify the time frame for which you want to display this information. The net likes section here shows you the likes that were organic, that means unpaid, and those that were paid through Facebook ads, which we're going to see in our next lecture. You'll also see if anyone has unliked your page. You see here in red. This section here shows where your page likes happen. But now let's continue to the reach section. As we said before, your reach is the number of unique people who see your content over a period of time. Light orange is for organic reach, dark orange is for paid reach, that is through Facebook ads. If you click on any section of the graph, you will see the posts that created the reach displayed. Here you get to see the trends related to likes, comments, and shares on posts. Once again, if you click, you can view the posts related to those trends. You see that at the top of our page, we have a message saying that Facebook is running a test allowing people to have different reactions to posts, so not just like, but they will also be able to like, love, laugh, and have other reactions to page posts. So this graph is already here, even if for this page specifically, people still don't have the option to love, wow, or haha any post, so you only see likes here. But once the feature is active, you will also be able to see data for these other columns. This graph is extremely important. It shows you if someone has stopped following your page or reported you as spam. If this happens, you need to think about what made your posts look like spam. The total reach shows your post reach, plus any content that was posted to your page and shown to your fans. Now let's go to visits. Under the Visits tab, you can see the number of times your Facebook page is visited. Don't worry if this number seems low with respect to your total fans, because usually fans don't revisit your page once they become a fan. Instead, they see your posts on their newsfeed. Below, you see the specific sources of traffic. The Posts section is split into 3 main areas. The first one here shows you how many of your fans are online at any given time during the day. This is a key information you need to include in your editorial plan. Facebook is the only social network that's going to give you this information. Here you have a list of the posts you shared on your page by type. You can see what works best for you and what doesn't. Generally, image posts tend to perform best, but it may not be the case for you. If there are some pages that you are watching, you will see here another section with the top posts from those pages, and it's useful to see what works well for your competitors. If you shared videos on your Facebook page, you will see a video tab here with some data about how many people watch your videos and how many of them actually watch for more than 30 seconds. This is important because it shows you whether your videos are actually working or not. If they are engaging videos, people are going to watch until the end of the clip. Yeah, here are some statistics about videos. Let's move on to the People tab. The People tab is fundamental for you to understand whether you are targeting the right people, or at least the people that you thought you were targeting. This is also very useful to check whether your editorial plan needs some changes. You have a breakdown of the demographics of your fans on the basis of gender, country, city, language, etc. You can see the same breakdown for the people who see your posts and those who interact with your posts under the People Engaged tab. On the top right here, you have an export button. By clicking on it, you can export your data in Excel format or CSV for further analysis. So you can also choose the time frame and the type of data you wish to export. And this is basically all you need to know about Facebook Insights. I totally love this panel because it gives you so much information. We'll see that, for example, Twitter and Instagram don't give you access to this type of details because they just don't have it. So please try to explore the Insights panel of your page, then go back to your editorial plan and make some changes if you need to. I'll talk to you in our next lecture. Everything we have seen so far is completely free, both for users and for marketers. But if you have a budget to invest, even $5 will be enough to start, you can use Facebook ads to expand your reach. The first step to take is create your advertising account. Basically, you need to set up your billing information and provide Facebook with a valid payment method. You can access your advertising account settings, and every account has a unique account ID, but you can also associate a name to it. Then simply fill in all other information, and if you are based in Europe, you'll also be asked to insert your VAT number. In this section, you can add more than one payment method, which can be useful in case maybe there is a problem with your credit card. If Facebook has a secondary source to get the money from, your ad will not be stopped. I leave it up to you to fill this information on this section, but I do want to stress one important detail. Set your account spend limit. This limits the total amount of money that can be spent in Facebook ads for your account. This will make you feel more relaxed, especially if it's your first time with Facebook ads. You know, some people get distracted and maybe put an additional zero in their campaign budget, but this limit will make you keep everything under control. Each time the limit is reached, all of your accounts will be paused for at least 15 minutes. Okay, now it's time to create your first Facebook ads campaign. Just click on the Create Ad button. Before you spend even a single cent on Facebook ads, it's important to define your goals. What do you want to achieve from this campaign? More likes? More engagement? More visits to your website? This should be very clear in your mind. You see, here you have a wide range of options. For example, you can decide to improve the engagement of a post, to get more likes on a Facebook page, to get more clicks or leads for your website, and so on. Whatever you choose, you'll have to insert some additional information about what you want to promote. If you want to get more visits to your website, you obviously need to indicate the link to your website. If you want to get more likes to your page, you need to specify what page exactly, and so on. Now let's assume we want to promote one of our pages. I already mentioned that one of the most powerful features of Facebook is that you can be very specific in terms of targeting. The first set of options you can define is basic demographic information. Setting a specific location from country to zip code, both international companies and local shops can target potential customers. You can also set an age limit and select one specific gender. If you click on the More Demographics button, you'll get a ton of other options you can explore and check whether they might be useful for you. You are able to target, for example, people by their life events, job titles, or ethnicity. In any case, limiting your research too much might be counterproductive. You can target people that are specifically interested in a subject related to your product. This might be a competitor's product, for example, or a magazine covering your subject. You can type a specific interest and Facebook will recommend similar ones. For example, I can write Titanic here and see Facebook here gives me other suggestions of related interests and related pages. Facebook also uses external data to help you define your target. For example, if you're launching a hotel booking service, you can target people who are planning a trip. Use the connections options if you might get some benefit from the so-called social proof. For example, if you're an emerging singer, it might be good for someone to know that one of his friends has already liked your page. This instead doesn't work very well with very technical subjects, generally. Since we are promoting our page, maybe we want to exclude people who already like your page. When it comes to budget, you can specify either a daily budget or a total budget. It's up to you. If you select total budget, Facebook will split it evenly across the campaign's lifetime. On the right, you can see the estimated daily reach of your ad based on your budget. Once everything else is defined, you can start designing your own ad. An ad on Facebook is a very visual thing, so you need images, and you can find many great images that are completely free to use on pixabay.com. You can test up to 6 different images. Don't be too commercial or spammy in your ad's copy. You want to get people's attention so they click on your ad and find out what is beyond that ad. The copy is the text that people will see above the image. On the right, you can see the preview of your ad. You can see the way it looks on people's timelines, on desktop news feeds, or mobile news feeds, and on the right column. Once all of these things are set, you can simply click on the placeholder button and you will be ready to go. You will receive a notification when Facebook approves your campaign, but it shouldn't take too long, generally around the hour. Once your campaign is live or has ended, you can access all the data you need to check how you have performed. Just click on the Manage Ads link on the top right. Select one of your campaigns. Select the time frame. Choose lifetime if you want to see the overall performance of the ad. And Facebook will automatically show the most useful data for it. Then choose the Customize column option to access all other available data. Specifying the breakdown, you will see how different groups you targeted responded to the ad. This information is useful to maybe change your Facebook targeting strategy. I know this might seem slightly overwhelming with all these numbers and statistics, but believe me, it's much easier if you actually do it. Practice makes perfect. So try and create your own Facebook ad campaign and let me know how it goes. So far, we've looked at Facebook profiles, pages, and Facebook ads. Today we are going to discover what Facebook groups are and how you can use them to promote your business. Facebook groups are the place for small communication, and they are conceived for people to share the common interest and express their opinion. They give people the chance to come together to support a common cause, discuss an issue, share some content, and so on and so forth. When you create a group, you can decide whether to make it publicly available for anyone to join, require administrator approval for members to join, or keep it private and by invitation only. New posts by a group are included in the news feeds of its members, and they can interact with other group members. Even if the idea of a Facebook group could sound totally unrelated to your business objectives, it's not. Let's see how you can benefit from a Facebook group. You can use a closed group or one that is by invitation only to give your community a sense of exclusivity. Yours is an elite group of customers, not everyone can join, and those who join feel lucky and feel like they are the chosen ones. You could even sell the membership to your Facebook group as part of a larger package. Open groups can also be useful to build awareness, authority, and interest in your brand. Even if the group is a free access one, joining a group creates a much stronger sense of belonging with respect to the simple like you can give to a Facebook page. You can gather people of like interest, and do you know what's the translation to this? That you gather potential customers. Moreover, these potential customers feel they are in a more protected environment with respect to a Facebook page, meaning that they will be more likely to share preferences and any other information that is valuable to you. You can use a group for customer support. We've already mentioned that social media in general is great for customer support, but inside a Facebook group, you can go beyond the generic cold answer and really try to establish a personal relationship with each member. Unless members have turned notifications off, Facebook will notify them anytime someone posts something in your group, meaning that the chance for them to see what you post is much higher. Now I have homework for you. Before creating your own group, use Facebook's search function to search for at least 5 groups that are somehow related to your brand. Join them or send your request to join, and once you're in, study. Explore what people are posting, what the administrator is posting, and do your best to understand in what way or ways he or she is benefiting from the activity in the group. Only after you have carefully analyzed these groups, start planning a group of your own and evaluate whether you could get an advantage from it, just as your competitors do. If so, go back to your editorial plan and add a Facebook group to your social media strategy. This concludes our section specifically dedicated to Facebook. I'll see you in the next section. Differently from Facebook, which is considered everywhere and by everyone a social network, Twitter is often defined as a microblogging platform. That should be great for people who want to blog but don't want to blog. Sometimes people want to share updates about their personal life and want to do this very quickly, and Twitter is the perfect place for them. Obviously, through time, Twitter has evolved into much more than a simple microblogging service. It is now considered as a tool for social messaging, news reporting, social media marketing, and much more. It is many different things to many different people. That is why I think you absolutely need to learn how to use it and discover its potential, because it could do great things for you too. Plus, as most other social networks, it's free for everyone to use. In my career, I've heard many people saying Twitter is just not for me. And they said so simply because at first it looks very different from, for example, Facebook. Truth is, using Twitter is as simple as signing onto the service and typing in a message. What on Facebook would be a status update, on Twitter is called a tweet and cannot be longer than 130 characters, which is basically the same limitation of text messaging on mobile phones. Just type your message into the text box under where it says "What's happening?" and when you're finished, click the update button. Awesome! You have sent your first tweet. Just like Facebook, you need to set a profile photo, a cover image, and some basic information about yourself. Differently from Facebook, however, everyone and everything has a Twitter account. There are no business pages or groups, just accounts. On Facebook, account connections have to be reciprocal, but on Twitter you can follow someone else, but this person might not follow you in turn. You might start following your friends and people you know at first. When you open your account, Twitter's algorithm doesn't know you very well, and thus cannot logically suggest people for you to follow. Once you get rolling, Twitter will give you better follow suggestions based on your interests. If someone follows you, there's no requirement for you to follow him or her back. When you see an interesting tweet, just click reply and add your thoughts. Clicking expand or view conversation on a tweet will display all the responses that a message received, including tweets from people you aren't following. You can see when someone follows or mentions you in the notifications tab at the top of the page. Another way to communicate on Twitter is through direct messaging, called DM. The messages are private between you and the receiver, so they are not public updates. If you see a tweet that you wish to share with your followers, you can retweet it. It is through retweets that information spreads and goes viral. A distinctive feature of Twitter, which was then copied by other social networks, is hashtags. Hashtags label and indicate the subject matter of certain conversations. The hashtag is represented by this sign. Putting the symbol in front of a word indicates the subject you are talking about. The words you use after the hashtag become searchable because Twitter tracks them. If you click on a particular hashtag, you'll be able to see all tweets that have also used that hashtag. We'll see how you can use hashtags to expand your Twitter audience in our next lecture. Okay, so far we've discovered that Twitter is fun and easy to use. But how is it helpful for growing your business? Let's find out. Twitter currently has over 300 million active users, probably not as many as Facebook, but still a pretty impressive number. And I'm quite sure that among those 300 millions, there are many potential customers for your product. What you need to do is find them. We said in our previous lecture that once you've created your profile, you should start following someone. When you create a business account or even a personal account which you intend to use for personal branding purposes, I recommend you to start with strategic following. Don't just add random friends and relatives. Start by following potential customers. You have two main ways to find them. The first one is through Twitter search. Search for hashtags related to your business. You can also use Twitter Advanced Search to search for people tweeting in a specific language. Let's assume I just launched a vegan restaurant in Rome and want to find new customers. I would start looking for people tweeting in Italian and using the hashtags Rome or vegan. Or alternatively, you can also input Rome as a location for your search, even though not all people add their location to their tweets. Another way to find potential customers is browsing the list of followers of a competitor. Let's assume there already are 2 other vegan restaurants in Rome. I would look for all those people following their profiles of the 2 restaurants and start following them. Why follow these people? It's a way to grab their attention. After following them, you can hope for a follow back. Remember not to follow too many people at the same time, otherwise Twitter might spot invalid activity and suspend your account. Try to follow no more than 150 to 200 people per day. A free service that I love is Topsy. You can perform very powerful researches, especially if you're searching by hashtag. It's one of the best tools I found that is totally free and also allows you to produce graphs showing the trend of specific hashtags over the past month. Take a look at it. You won't regret it. Always remember that interaction is key. Users ask and answer questions, they comment, they share knowledge. Listening and learning from what others are saying is a great way to start using and getting a feel for Twitter. But taking the plunge into interacting with others would really build your presence on the network and gain followers. Mention others, follow them, retweet them, interact with them in any possible way. Anytime someone new starts following you, send them a tweet and thank them for their interest in your work. Show them that you are there. After being on Twitter for some time, you'll start spotting influencers, those people in your industry who have a large following and whose opinion matters and influence others. That's why they're called influencers. Interact with them as often as you can. It may take a while for them to actually notice you, but if they do, a retweet, follow, or mention from their part could skyrocket your popularity and give you a chance to find more potential customers. Do you remember what we said about valuable content? Marketing is an exchange, and you need to give your followers valuable content and information as a payback for following you. Be consistent, post regularly, and try to test out various times of the day to see what works for you. Spread your tweets throughout the whole day, avoiding tweeting 6 or 7 things in a time frame of 5 minutes and then nothing for the rest of the day. Various studies concluded that it's best to post 3 times per day. But again, there's no right or wrong here, just test and measure. Hashtags can also help you get noticed if you use them appropriately, in the same way that you can click on an hashtag and find everyone who tweets about it, others can do the same and find you. Topsy, which I mentioned in a previous lecture as well, is also a great tool to understand which hashtags are most popular and can give you great visibility. Once you create a substantial following, you can launch your own hashtag as well and use Topsy to track how people are using it. When speaking about monitoring your Twitter activity, the web is full of tools that allow you to do that. The problem is that most of them are paid, many of them are very expensive. There is only one that I think gives you everything you need to start, and it does it for free. I'm talking about a website called TweetReach that, quoting their website description, tells you how far your tweets travel. It also has a premium version, but the free one is good enough, I'd say. Twitter has also recently introduced their own analytics panel. It's still in development, but you can get some cool information there as well. You need to visit ads.twitter.com and click on Analytics, and you will access your own analytics panel. While Facebook is focused primarily on demographic data, Twitter is more about interests. Moreover, since many users tweet from mobile phones, you have pretty detailed information as to what type of device you use. In terms of location, I found that Twitter data are not too relevant because, as we mentioned, many people do not add their real location to their profile or their tweets, so Twitter doesn't have this kind of information for everyone. Let's say that Twitter shows you what they have and use data from that sample to give you statistics about your whole audience. So Facebook is definitely more accurate in this sense. Now I have homework for you. Follow these steps. Start by going to tweetreach.com, subscribe and analyze your analytics for the past week. Think of all the things we've discussed in these lectures about Twitter and pick 3. Then write them down on a post-it. Stick it somewhere you see very well and perform those 3 activities every single day for 1 week. When the week is over, go back to TweetDeck and check whether there has been any significant change in your performance. If yes, great. If not, stop for a minute and think of what you could change. Then start all over again. Good luck. Hello. From someone who uses a plugin to hide their Facebook newsfeed, that is me, you could definitely expect that she's also using a Twitter tool to increase her productivity, because that's exactly what I do. Let me share this with you. At the beginning, I used to dislike Twitter because I hated the fact that to switch from one account to the other, I was first to log out and then log in again. But one day things changed and I started loving it, and that's the day I discovered TweetDeck. Twitter describes TweetDeck as the most powerful Twitter tool for real-time tracking, organizing, and engagement. And that's true. It allows you to organize and build custom timelines, keep track of lists, searches, activity, and more, all in the same interface. You can use it online, but you can also download the desktop version, which I recommend you to do. You can monitor multiple timelines in one easy interface, schedule tweets, receive alerts and notifications, filter searches, and also forget about the refresh button. TweetDeck timelines stream in real time, so tweets will appear as soon as they are posted. I invite you to visit tweetdeck.com and start using it now. It's super easy to use and you have no idea of how much time you'll save. It's so amazing. I have to confess that I typically do not invest a lot on Twitter ads because I found the average conversion rates to be much lower than on Facebook. Put it in other words, advertising on Twitter has always been more expensive to me with respect to Facebook, but this is just my experience. It really depends a lot on the type of product or service or website you advertise, so I think you need to grasp the functioning of Twitter ads as well and maybe give it a try so you can check what works best in your case. First, you need to set up your Twitter advertising account, and to do that, just visit ads.twitter.com. It's a little bit like Facebook here. Just set up your account and specify your payment method. Without adding a payment method, you won't be able to launch your first campaign, so do that. Just like Facebook, depending on your goal, you can launch a different type of campaign. Just click on the Create New Campaign button and you'll see the various alternatives. The process to set up each of these types is pretty much the same. Today we're specifically going to look at how to launch a leads campaign on Twitter to get contacts of potential customers. You'll see why this is so important when we talk about list building. Here we go. The first thing to do is add in your campaign name and select the time frame that you prefer. Then move on to location, gender, and language. On your right, you'll see the number of people that correspond to the criteria you select. For example, I can add Italy here. Select female only. Expand the language field and add Italian as a language. Then you can select, for example, if you want the type of device of your target users. For example, if you are promoting an Android app, you want only Android users to see it. But I would leave the mobile carriers field blank, to be honest. The really important part is the one related to interests, because Twitter is very strong on this, especially because of hashtags. You can select some keywords, then the name of a user that your target audience should be following, and their interests. You can also upload your own list of contacts, but in this case, you may not have it as you're launching this campaign to get more contacts. So let's move on. The TV section here is a very interesting one because it really allows you to engage with your audience. For example, if I wanted to promote my Leonardo DiCaprio website, I could run an ad while Titanic is airing on TV, maybe simply tweeting some quotes from the movie. This would allow me to really take part in the conversation. So in this section, you can add more details about TV networks and shows. Behavior targeting is based on online and offline behaviors and characteristics, but it's still in test mode and it's available in some specific countries only. As a last option, you can target all those people who joined a specific event. Maybe if you're selling sports products, you might target people who attended a certain football match. Then, choose where your ad should appear, either in users' timelines or detail pages. Now it's time to select a budget. Like on Facebook, you can set a total budget for your campaign, and the bid is the maximum you are willing to pay for each lead. You will not pay more. At the beginning, you might use automatic bidding to see how it goes. In these fields here, you should create the visuals, so make sure to have an image ready to upload. Images must be at least 800 pixels wide and no more than 1 megabyte. Other elements you will need to provide to create a Twitter card include the title, a call to action, and a short description. Before being able to post your ad, you will also be asked to include a link to your company's privacy policy so viewers can get a better understanding of how you collect data and what you do with it. Then you will have to indicate the fallback page, the page which users should be redirected to after subscribing. During the campaign, you can download leads in a CSV file format to send them the offer or promotion. And that's pretty much it. I think you should definitely give it a try, and then if you want, let me know how it goes, and if you have any questions, feel free to post in the discussion area. Now that we discussed Facebook and Twitter, it's time to talk about Instagram. Instagram is a mobile application that combines the features of a photo sharing site and a social networking site. It was recently acquired by Facebook and its popularity is skyrocketing. It now has more subscribers than Twitter, over 300 million monthly users. Unlike other social networks where people can also post images and videos, on Instagram no standalone text updates are allowed. People have to share an image or a short video of up to 15 seconds. Anytime you upload a media file, you can apply special filters to it, crop images, change color, adjust the contrast, luminosity, saturation, and other options. This makes Instagram a highly visual social network. Moreover, even if Instagram can be browsed from the web like any other social media site, photos and videos can only be uploaded from mobile devices. The types of interactions allowed are very similar to Twitter. You can mention someone, follow them, send them a DM, and add hashtags to your posts. But just like Facebook, you can also like other people's posts and comment on them. If you see a photo that you really like and that is posted by someone else, you can repost it using another app called Repost app. There are two versions of it, a free one and a paid one, but the free one is perfectly okay. It just leaves the name of the user who originally posted the image on a corner of the image. Really, you don't need to pay for the premium version. On your profile, you have a profile photo, a space for your bio, and an external link. So that's all you need to fill before you're ready to go. In our next lecture, we're going to look at how you can use Instagram to find new potential customers, but before you switch to the next video, I have homework for you. Visit the Instagram account of one of your competitors or future competitors if you haven't launched your product yet, and take a look at what kind of content they share, how often they post, and how successful they are in terms of interactions they generate. Then move on to our next lecture and see whether what we discussed resonates with your findings. See you there. Now it's time to talk about how you can use Instagram to grow your business. Instagram can be useful on many different levels. It can help you find out more about prospective clients and their preferences. It can help you promote your product, service, or expertise, or generate leads. First of all, it is important that you have a clear idea of what your goal is. When talking about Twitter, we already mentioned the importance of hashtags. On Instagram, they are, if possible, even more important. This is because on Twitter you have the 140 character limitation that prevents people from using many hashtags. On Instagram instead, you don't have this restriction and you are free to add as many hashtags as you wish. First of all, hashtags create engagement. A research by the people at We Are Social Media shows that posts that include hashtags have much higher like to follower ratios than those that don't. They also spotted some hashtags you might want to avoid, and here they are. So make sure to never include these hashtags. If you use Repost app, delete the hashtag symbol before the word repost. Why is this important? When talking about Facebook, we discussed the EdgeRank algorithm and explained how engagement helps you increase your chance to appear on your friend's newsfeed. Instagram, at least for now, does not have such an algorithm, meaning that if someone follows you, he or she will see your photos on their newsfeed. So this is not the reason why we care about engagement here. We do because if your profile looks popular, has many followers and likes, people will be more prone to follow you as well as start interacting with you, which is exactly what any user on Instagram wants. If you have more followers, you automatically expand your audience, meaning that you have higher chances to get people to purchase your product, your service, or anything else that you're selling. People will be more likely to convert to actual customers if you use Instagram to take them behind the scenes of your brand. Show your personality, give your brand a unique voice, and express it through your photos. Use Instagram to reveal things that you haven't shared on your Facebook, Twitter, or blog. This makes your Instagram followers feel special. Make a short video of your business opening a new store, of yourself opening the box of a new product, taking a trip, or speaking at an event or conference. Get personal. Give your Instagram followers a discount code which are only relevant to them, for example. Also, make clever use of your bio. URLs are not clickable on Instagram. Only the link in your bio is, so make sure you pick one that is relevant to your audience. Keep in mind that most people will visit your Instagram profile from a mobile device, so you might want to direct them to a specific landing page that you created for mobile users. Then, anytime you post a picture, add in the photo description a call to action that invites users to click on the link in your bio. It works. As you understand, the possibilities are endless. Instagram is a very sort of basic social network, but it provides a lot of ways for entrepreneurs to promote their business. Now think of the Instagram account that you chose for your homework in your previous lecture. Are they applying these strategies? Take a piece of paper and write down 2 things that they are already doing and 2 things that we discussed that you think they should be doing but they are not doing. Reflecting upon this, you will get a deeper and more practical understanding of this topic, and you'll be ready for our next lecture. Welcome to the Instagram lecture that will unveil a special tool that, yeah, you guessed it, will make you optimize your activity and make you save a lot of time and efforts and expand your audience. By now, you should know how much I love optimizing everything. But first, let me share with you other useful tips on how to increase your popularity on Instagram and your engagement level. We said that Instagram allows you to apply color filters to your pictures. Remember, just because you can do that, it doesn't mean that you have to do that. Truth is, I learned that the most successful accounts only post higher quality pictures and never apply filters. You can adjust colors, saturation, contrast, and so on, but do it manually and don't use pre-made filters. So try to forget about filters and let me know how it goes. Another tip is use emoticons. They grab the attention of the readers, make your posts fun and engaging, adding 1 or 2 emojis. If for any reason you are not able to post them directly, you can copy and paste them from a website called emojipedia.org. It's really useful. If you're wondering about the best times to post on Instagram, there is not just one right answer. The good news is that there is one completely free tool that generates a report for your account and can tell you what is the right time to post for you. You can generate your report at simplymeasured.com and just click Free Instagram User Analysis under Free Tools and follow the steps. The report will be emailed to you and you'll get many amazing and very useful stats, including this amazing graph. You can even export your data as an Excel file, so definitely worth checking out. The last tip is interact. Don't just expect people to talk to you. Be the first one to speak up and comment on someone else's pictures. Now, I know this could be a daunting task. It really is, and that's exactly where our magical optimizing tool comes in. I'm talking about Instagress. What it basically does is interacting with potential customers on your behalf. You give it your instructions and it does the work for you, simple as that. So go to instagress.com and start your 3-day trial adding your Instagram account. After that, you can visit your administration panel. You can basically tell Instagress to like, comment, follow and unfollow other people on your behalf. I personally suggest you to avoid posting automatic comments as they might look as spammy and someone might report your account. But let's take a quick look at your interface on Instagress. If you wanted to interact with people on the basis of the hashtags they post, which I would recommend, set tags as a media source. Then skip the comment section as we said it's not good to use it and go to the tags section. Here's where you need to choose the hashtags that will determine the people who your account will interact with. You can take a look at all the other options, but generally everything is very straightforward. Then select like and follows at the top of the page. Select the slow or medium as activity speed and then you're ready to go. Instagress is not the only automation service that is available online, but I think it is by far the best one. It is not free, but it costs less than $10 per month, and by month I mean 30 days. but only if you let Instagram run non-stop. You can decide to let it run for 12 hours a day and you will spend less than $10 for 2 months. And you will see the results, believe me. Please note that while TweetDeck is officially promoted by Twitter, Instagram does not have anything to do with Instagram. Instagram does not permit the use of automation services. This is why I suggest you to use Instagram in slow mode so that it performs a realistic activity on your behalf. Too much activity could result in Instagram suspending your account, and if you use Instagram, you do so at your own risk. I did it and it worked incredibly well for me, so I couldn't help but talking about it with you. If you're already using Instagram, you might have noticed that they recently introduced Instagram ads. However, it's not yet available to everyone. Since the launch of the application, users came up with a different strategy to promote on Instagram, but not so many people know about that. Have you ever seen an Instagram profile with hundreds of thousands of followers or millions of followers and with contact information in their bio for business proposals? If you've seen one, probably the person behind it is successfully monetizing his Instagram activity. How? Easy. Companies selling products belonging to the same niche contact him or her and ask him or her for a paid shout out, a recommendation to follow a specific account. This type of advertisers charge anywhere between $20 to $500 for a shout out, depending on how large and active their audience is. This type of negotiations is beyond Instagram's control and will probably keep on existing even after the introduction of Instagram ads. At the moment, it's still going very strong. So how do you become a self-made advertiser? Let's go through the steps you need to take. You need to expand your audience using all the strategies we've seen so far. No one will pay to have a post featured on your account if you don't have at least 10,000, 15,000 followers. Don't worry if these figures seem huge. You can get there pretty quickly, especially if you use Instagram. Download Kik, an instant messaging app. It's often used by advertisers on Instagram. Add your email and Kik username to your Instagram bio. And that's it. As your audience grows, people will start noticing you. Now that you know about this, pay attention to the activity of big Instagram accounts and take a look at how many shout-outs they give to smaller accounts. You'll be amazed. We're at the end of our Instagram section. Now you're ready to go back to your editorial plan and add your Instagram strategy. See you in the next lecture where we'll talk about niche social media sites. Everybody is always talking about the generic social networks. These sites are for everyone. It doesn't matter whether someone is interested in programming, horse riding, music, fashion, crochet, web design, wood cutting, animal agriculture, it doesn't matter. You will find something that you're interested in. This means that for you as an entrepreneur and marketer, you are hoping to find customers in a very large pool. Let's say that you're looking for many small fishes in a very large pond. This is not the case with niche social media sites. The sites are specifically dedicated to a niche of users that share one or more interests. Let's check out some examples. This is a community for, as the founders stated on their site, believers who want to discover the truth behind the UFO phenomena. Assume you just published a book about mysterious UFO sightings in California in the year 1995, and a single person who subscribed to ufopetrol.com is a potential buyer. No need to think of complex strategies for targeting. Everyone there could buy your book, so you had to be there. As you can see, this is a gathering place for all people loving the gothic industrial culture. If you are selling anything that could appeal to people who have this type of interest, join and start interacting with literally anyone, because anyone is your potential customer. If you've launched a new site where people can buy books, or where you collect book reviews, or where you promote emerging writers, or anything the book lovers could like, this is the place to be. You see, there are so many niche websites, one for each niche. It's up to you to find them, and you can simply Google some keywords and browse results, as easy as that. You are the expert in your niche, so I'm sure you already know much more than I do as to how to spot a niche website that could be useful for you. If looking for customers in a generic social media site is like looking for small fishes in a large pond, with niche social media site you search for big fishes in a small pond. Doesn't that sound much better? On niche social networks, you can engage with your potential customers on a deeper level. For example, users on niche social media sites can typically complete very specific fields on their profiles. On a social network about books, as the one we've seen earlier in this lecture, a member might be able to specify which type of books he or she reads more frequently and who is his or her favorite author. So let's assume you want to sell a book about a story set in the Victorian age. You would just have to look for people whose favorite author is Dickens. And you have an incredibly high chance that those people will be interested in what you have to say and sell. This is much harder to do on generic sites. Another good reason to join niche social media sites is that they tend to have very high rankings on Google with respect to their most relevant keywords. This means that if you create an account on these niche sites, you also make it easier for people to find you on Google for those same keywords. Remember, activity on niche social media sites does not replace activity on generic social media sites. These two types of sites address two completely different audiences, and you need to create a strategy for both. Now, start Googling the best niche social networks for your business, and then go back to your editorial plan and add them to your strategy. Over the past couple of years, the internet has gone crazy over what is defined community management. First of all, we need to define what a community is. A community is a virtual space that allows people to express themselves, share information, interests, and passions. Any community is made up of three different components. Two of them I just mentioned when stating the definition of community. These are the people and the virtual space. Let's start talking about the people. When we refer to communities created by brands to promote their activity, we generally have two distinct types of users, businesses and customers. Essentially, we could have what is called either a B2B community or a B2C community. In any case, the person visiting the community will behave initially as a so-called lurker, reading, following what's going on, but without taking part in the conversation. He or she will then turn into an active user if and only if he or she thinks it is worth it. The second element is the virtual space. Whenever a group of people, imagine you and your friends who want to meet, you need a place where you can meet. That's exactly the same with virtual communities. The only difference is that the space is not physical, but it's virtual. A virtual space may be either a self-hosted community or an open social network. An example of self-hosted community would be this one. Icon is the official Madonna fan club. This is a community because fans, meaning people who have and want to share their passion for Madonna, can meet and exchange information and opinions about their favorite performer. This one here is Madonna's official Facebook page. This is also a place where her fans can share thoughts and information, but there is a substantial difference with respect to the Icon community. Access on Icon is not open to everyone. People need to register to access exclusive content and features, and all the data that are collected by Madonna's team are their own property. Instead, on Facebook or other social networks, you do not own any information about your followers. You can access aggregated data as we saw on Facebook Insights, but you cannot access individual information. The optimal situation in terms of community management would be to create an audience on social networks and then direct that audience to the self-hosted community. The problem is that developing a self-hosted community is expensive. It is not just a blog, as we will see later in this course. It is something huge that should be handled by developers. Developing a platform like that is not something startups can typically afford. So in my work with many entrepreneurs, I developed a different kind of approach that worked really well. That is, start creating not just an audience on social media, but a real community on social media. Then, after 1 or more years, when you have the budget, consider creating your own self-hosted community. How? By being a community manager and using social media as your virtual space. Actually, the community manager is the third, often invisible element of a community. Before listing the tasks of a community manager, let's understand how community management differs from traditional social media marketing. Social media marketing creates a relationship between the brand and its customers. Community management creates relationships between its customers to bring an advantage to the brand. This means that interaction is key. Let's take a look at some of the tasks of a community manager. For example, welcoming members to the community, building relationships, moderating the conversation, promoting members and encouraging relationships formation, running events, finding internal resources to respond to some specific community discussions, enforcing the guidelines of the community, channeling the input and the response from the community into other organizational processes. But now let's take a look at why users join communities. Typically, they want to do one of these things: share a passion or interest, create bonds with other users, create a new identity for themselves, interact with the brand, contribute to improving the brand, stay updated, and take advantage of special offers. Companies need to be able to satisfy these needs with their communities, otherwise they won't be able to achieve their goals. Brands create communities because in the end they want to increase their sales and sell more efficiently. How? By informing, interacting, and educating their audience. In the next 2 lectures, we'll explore the 2 main strategies to achieve that. See you there. One of the fundamental principles of community management is user empowerment. You might be surprised to know that user empowerment is a concept used in mental health to indicate that people should be empowered to promote their own health, interact effectively with health services, and be active partners in managing their disease. What this basically means is that these people should be given all the instruments and the information so that they have the power to act. That's the same thing here. A community should give users all the information they need on a specific topic so they can take action. Why? Because users pay for it. Maybe not with money, but with something that might be considered even more valuable: their time and their attention. And you need to reward them. Time is the most precious thing we have, and if someone spends even 1, 2, or 3 seconds on your website or social media page, it's a huge thing, and you should be forever grateful for that. But also, you should do your best so that that person comes back, and to make this happen, this person needs to find valuable content on your page. But what? Only you know the answer to this question, because you already performed research about your target audience, but also because you are the expert about your chosen subject, or the person who best knows your product and brand. You know what a valuable piece of information is for your target. Information is valuable, information is power today. Let's look at an example. TED.com. I'm sure you've visited it at least once and you've watched at least one of their impressive presentations. Why do people keep coming back on TED.com? Easy, because they always find new presentations, which means new information. Why do people care about that? Because that information can enrich their lives in many ways. I know you might be wondering, okay, Laura, but what if I don't have this type of amazing content to share? What kind of information do you expect me to provide? Anything that could be useful. The value of information is not measured by the complexity of the information itself, but by the extent to which this information is able to satisfy a need or solve a problem. If you're selling gardening products, your target audience is probably interested in gardening and might be looking for great tips on how to keep the pests out of their garden or fertilize their plants, not for life-changing presentations about how to make the world a better place by 2030. They want to make their garden a better place as quickly as possible. Never ever think that what you have is not enough and is not worth sharing. Just give it a try and the response will certainly boost your confidence. We already talked about what engagement is and how to generate engagement in your audience. In this lecture, I will explain to you why engagement is so important when you really want to create a community of people and not just build an audience. Throughout the course, we mentioned engagement, especially in the lecture dedicated to Facebook's EdgeRank. But believe me, having more people seeing your post is definitely not the main reason why you want to engage your audience. Engagement turns users into fans. Someone who is not only satisfied with what you have to offer, but also takes part in the life of the community you have created, will become a brand ambassador. Who is a brand ambassador? Many people think an ambassador is necessarily a celebrity or a politician, but that's not the case. A brand ambassador is whoever spreads your product through word of mouth. And that's by far the most effective promotion you could hope for. Write to get a response. Ask questions. Make people part of your activity, not just your mere audience. The key to engagement creation in the context of an online community is the use of gamification techniques. Gamification is defined as the use of game mechanics and game design techniques in non-game contexts. It's basically the application of typical elements of game playing, such as point scoring, competition with others, rules of play, to other areas of activity. Gamification makes technology more engaging by encouraging users to engage in desired behaviors. This technique can encourage users to perform actions that they ordinarily consider boring, such as completing surveys, shopping, filling out forms, or reading a website. Gamification can improve not just engagement, but also return on income, data quality, timeliness, or learning. Let's look at a couple of awesome examples. Mobile operator O2 developed a giffgaff game in 2010. giffgaff is a mobile phone service provider with a very unique business model. The idea is that every service provided by giffgaff is done by the users of its community, from sales to customer support. You become a member by simply purchasing your giffgaff SIM card. When you request support at their forum and a member supports you, he gets points. After accumulating points, you can convert them into cash, which can be withdrawn or donated to charity. People do their best to achieve a certain goal. They add value to the community. And you know what? The value they provide will help empower all the other members. Clearly, this is very hard to do without a self-hosted platform, but you get the point. You can have a scaled-down version of this to start off with. Let's look at an example that is only based on traditional social media. In 2013, Audi launched their new A3 car. In the first half of the year, a truck drove through South Africa carrying a brand new A3 Sportback. The truck's final destination will be whichever city in South Africa generated the most tweets. Once there, 3 randomly selected tweeters would have the chance to exchange their own car for the new A3. At the end, 50,000 tweets guided the truck to Johannesburg. Within 5 hours of launching the campaign, Audi South Africa was trending on Twitter, which is amazing exposure for the company. Don't get discouraged by the fact that these companies had large budgets to invest to provide for great prizes for the users. Of course, the prize attracted more people to join, but remember that people are not drawn to the monetary value of the prize, but to what the prize means to them. Maybe there is no prize at all, but people might just want to join because they would love to be the winners. For once, just that. Clearly, the action that you require your customers to take should be proportionate to the prize. If you have a low value prize and you ask users to shoot a 15 minutes video of themselves singing 4 Britney Spears covers on the top of Mount Everest, well, the barriers to entry are too high and nobody will join. Conversely, if the prize is really valuable but people just need to like one of your posts to win, that's probably not going to work either, because users will think, I'm sure millions of people already joined, so I'll never be the one winner. So don't make it too easy, but not even too hard. Be reasonable. Online, you can find many tools that can help you launch and run successful contests on social media. However, my favorite one is kickofflabs.com. It lets you create a free landing page for your contest, a very easy one that helps you collect email addresses and grow your email list. Don't worry, we'll talk more about list building in the next lectures. One last fundamental tip about contests. Check your country regulations, especially if you plan to give away a large prize. The winner might be subject to taxation, for example. Check out the resources section for some useful links that will help you find information about this issue. Now, be creative and have fun. In a virtual space where users are interacting with each other, it is inevitable that not all interactions will be positive. Think about your everyday conversations. Not all of them are with people you like, and not all of them are about things you necessarily like. This is just how it works. The problem is that people have different ways of responding to what they do not like, especially on the internet, because people feel free to say whatever they want to say, how they want to say it, without necessarily feeling they have to take responsibility for their words, just because they are behind a computer screen. We know very well that behind any computer screen is a human being, but people seem to forget about it very often, and many users are really mean on social media towards other people and towards your brand. That's why you always need to be there to moderate the discussion. Moderation is a very delicate topic. Everyone develops its own moderation policy, and through time you will too. In the meantime, I will discuss the rule of thumbs here. You can start from here and then modify them through time. When you are a community manager, your community is your dinner party and you are the host. Let's take a look at what kind of conflicts you might encounter and how to handle them. First, remember, not all conflicts are negative. Sometimes they can result in richer, more significant conversation within your community. A community that tackles real issues is far more valuable to its members. You just need to learn how to embrace conflict and how to recognize when it will ruin your party. Keep your eyes open and try to predict conflict. You can do so by knowing your audience. Both in real life and in social media, moderating conflict starts with knowing your guests and understanding why they're there. When a disagreement actually starts, you can handle it in 4 different ways. Maybe you spot a conversation that might result in the conflict. However, it's a new type of conversation for you, so you cannot really tell how it's going to continue. So keep an eye on it and let it continue. As it goes on, evaluate the reasons why you should let it go on and the reasons why you shouldn't. If you understand that it doesn't add any value to your community, then stop it. If instead a topic has come up in your community before and resulted in an engaging conversation, you can step in and encourage the debate. When you become comfortable enough, you'll be able to actually start the debate in a way that is productive for your community. You shouldn't be too controversial. Just spark the conversation. Sometimes, instead of shutting the conversation down at all, you can try to steer it in a different direction. You can step in and help your community refocus. If the conflict involves personal attacks, threats, legal issues, or anything that contradicts your community guidelines, immediately stop the conversation. Another useful tip. There might be some types of other content that are specific to your industry and that you do not want people to share. For example, on social media pages for movies, it is typically forbidden to post spoilers, because this might result in discouraging some people from going to the movie theater and watch the movie simply because they already know the end. Make sure to think about what is that you do not want your audience to post. Remember, you must be part of the conversation. Always reply to comments on posts and always reply to private messages. If someone posts a question on your Facebook page and you do not respond, all other members in your community will see that you ignore the user and will think you don't really care about what people are saying, which is really bad. So always reply to comments. As I said, these are the general rules, so feel free to find the strategy that is most appropriate for you and then go back to your editorial plan and add your moderation policy there. It often sounds like blogging is the job of the decade. Fashion bloggers, movie bloggers, marketing bloggers, these people are popping up everywhere. Contrary to popular belief, it is not easy to be able to actually make a living out of blogging. But running a great blog can bring various advantages to your brand, your company, or your personal brand, including creating an additional income stream. First of all, let's see what a blog is. The word itself comes from the union of the two words, web and log. A blog is basically a website consisting of entries, also called posts, appearing in reverse chronological order with the most recent entry appearing first. It's similar in format to a daily journal. Various other words are derived from the term blog. Blogging is the act of writing a post for a blog. A blogger is a person who writes content for a blog. The blogosphere is the online community of blogs and bloggers. The earliest blogs started in the late 1990s as online diaries. Bloggers would post information about their lives and opinions. As blogs evolved, other more interactive features were added to create a real conversation between the blogger and his or her audience. Readers could, for example, comment on blog posts or link to posts on other blogs and websites to expand the conversation. Today, there are over 100 million blogs, and this number is constantly growing. Blogs have become much more than online diaries. Many bloggers today have become very influential personalities in the entertainment industry, in fashion, and also politics. I know this might sound really exciting, but there are various things that you need to consider before launching your own blog and to make sure that blogging is right for you. With respect to any other tool, blogging is really all about writing, or mostly about writing. So you need to enjoy writing. If you don't like it at all, you necessarily need to find someone who's willing to do that for you. You need to be passionate about your topic. You cannot fake passion. There's absolutely no way to do that. So you really need to be enthusiastic to be able to convey that same passion to your audience. Blogging takes time. Whether you plan to write an article per day or just one per week, you need to make sure you are in a position where you can commit to it. You cannot launch a blog and then suddenly stop updating it because you don't have time anymore, and then maybe start posting again one day. You need to have a rhythm, and you need to keep that rhythm. If after this you think blogging is the right thing for you, great. Now let's see how a blog can help you grow your business. A blog is a powerful means to show that you are competent. You have the space to turn your knowledge into words and make your prospective clients understand that you are the expert who can solve their problems. When you try to come up with ideas for your articles, you need to perform at least some research on Google to try and understand whether someone is already talking about it, what they are saying, and how. This way, you can make sure your content is always unique, but most of all, you will stay up to date with anything that is happening in your industry. This translates into more knowledge and expertise that, in a vicious cycle, translates into more valuable content and more clients that trust you and want to do business with you. With a blog, you also give people an additional chance to find you, especially through search engines. You'll definitely see an improvement in your positioning in terms of search engine optimization. A blog is a great place where you can build your own list of contacts. Remember, when we talk about the difference between self-hosted communities and communities on social media, if you build an email list, all those email addresses are for you to keep. They are no one else's. We'll have a whole lecture that will teach you how to build your list. You can also use your blog as a means to create additional revenue for your business by selling some sections of it as advertising spaces, for example, but we'll see this more in details in a dedicated lecture as well. Last but not least, you must be wondering, how do I practically create my own blog? Most blogs now are WordPress based. As stated on WordPress.com, WordPress started as just a blogging system but has evolved to be used as full content management system and so much more through the thousands of plugins and widgets and themes available. You can create your blog without any coding knowledge. Since the web is full of many fantastic tutorials that show you how you can create your own WordPress blog, I collected some of my favorite ones in a PDF file you can find in the additional resource section of this lecture. Check it out and don't forget to post a question in the discussion area if you need more assistance. Now, ready to find out how to create content with purpose? Let's dive into our next lecture. One of my absolute favorite quotes is this one: "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail." And apparently it's a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Well, it doesn't really matter who said it. What matters is that it states a fundamental truth for anyone who has to do with business and/or marketing. By now, you should perfectly know what an editorial calendar is and how to use it. In the template you downloaded, you must have noticed a section dedicated to your blog. In fact, you should have a clear plan for your blog and have a clear idea what you are going to post and when. The first thing that you should decide is how often you are going to post. You should publish a regular update, maybe every week or every day or every 3 days, you decide, but be reasonable. Your goal should be to provide quality, not quantity. Be realistic. Writing takes time, and if you don't have time to write an article every day, that's completely fine. Think about how you could fit writing into your everyday schedule. Then you should decide what to post. Whatever your blog is about, here's a great tip to come up with a long-term list of articles. Imagine you're creating a course about your chosen topic. If you had to teach your stuff to someone else, what would you start off with? Plan each article as if it were a very small module of your course. Empower your readers. Take them through a journey and turn them into experts, one article at a time. Once your blog is full of very useful articles, you can add a Start Here page, providing a list of the most important links that new users should read so they can immediately get a feel as to what the blog is about and taste some of your best content. Don't forget to include an About page as well. In this page, you'll tell people who you are and why they should follow you and read your blog. Bring numbers, case studies, pictures, videos, customer testimonials, anything that can be used as a social proof. I know this might sound trivial, but don't include any false information, please. Because in the end, the quality of your blog posts will speak for yourself, so no need to lie. Honesty should not only be at the basis of your About page, but all of your articles and marketing efforts in general. We live in an era where information is accessible to anyone. If you write something that is untrue, people will find out, and you will regret it. The reason why I feel I have to mention this is that many people often feel like they are not good enough and there is no reason why people should listen to them. So they sometimes make up some false information to validate their position. But let me tell you, you don't need to do that. Again, the quality of your writing will speak for you and will be far more effective than any other university degree or job title on your CV. You need to be remarkable, be different. We mentioned that the blogosphere currently counts over 100 million blogs, so it's very likely that whatever you want to talk about has been already covered by someone else. But the great news is that it has never been covered by you. Add your touch, your experience, and your personality and let it shine through. People will love it. Moreover, this will help you build an audience that you can also relate with on a personal level, which will definitely play in your favor if these people convert into actual customers, because they already know you, but most of all, they already like you. Many people prefer seeing pictures instead of reading. That's a fact. In the age of social media, it is of paramount importance to produce a lot of visual content that captures the attention of the laziest readers. You don't even need to be an experienced graphic designer to do that, as there are lots of free online tools that can help you create visually appealing artworks that you can share on your blog and social media accounts, for example Canva or PicMonkey. Last but not least, the number one rule of blogging is that whatever you post, you need to like it yourself. You're passionate about your topic, right? Then, would you visit your blog and read your articles if they were written by someone else? Only if the answer is yes, then you're on the right track. When we speak about digital marketing in general, each single action of appreciation that you can get from your audience is valuable. A like on Facebook, a follow on Twitter, a repost on Instagram, all of these things are huge. However, that is just one big asset that you can have online, and that is your email list. We mentioned how popular social media sites are, especially for Facebook and Twitter. We talked about millions of users. This translates into millions of different types of posts and content that a user could easily get distracted with on this kind of sites. Their email box instead is a much quieter place. When you send someone an email, you're playing with your own rules. You create your content in the way you wish to create it, and your imagination is literally your only limit. There is also a debate going on as to whether social media, or at least the ones that are most popular now, are here to stay or just a fad. Whatever the correct answer is, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, emails are here to stay. But how should you use email communication to build and strengthen a bond with your customers? First of all, pay strong attention to the first email you send, the so-called welcome email that welcomes users to the mailing list. The email should authentically reflect your own personality. Be you. This will be useful to the subscriber to understand what kind of content he's going to receive from you and what he or she should generally expect from you. Always remind your subscribers that you are there for them. Don't make people forget about you. If they get an email from you after 3 months of silence, they might not remember who you are at all and quickly unsubscribe from your list. And you don't want that to happen. We also said multiple times that marketing, any type of marketing, is an exchange, which means that somebody gives you their email address and you need to give them some value in return. Give them an ebook in exchange for their email, give them any other downloadable resources or any other valuable content that is only available to subscribers. Keep your promise. Don't say that something is exclusively available to subscribers and then you just post it on your blog for everyone to download. Respect your subscribers and reward them, and you'll gain their trust. If you're uncertain about what topics are most appealing to your audience, there's a really helpful tool that is called BuzzSumo that lets you see what articles are the most popular on any site. If you don't have a large number of articles yet on your blog, you can simply take a look at the most popular posts on your competitor's blog to get an idea of what you could be writing about. Okay, so now you know what you should write in your emails, but how do you get people to sign up? First of all, you need a dedicated sign up page on your blog. You can specify there what kind of content people are going to receive by signing up, and maybe what kind of downloadable resources, and of course include the sign up form. Don't use the classic sign up button. Write something more original. If people are going to get an ebook if they sign up, then write send me the ebook. But this is just an example. Also, place your form on different areas of your blog. Place it at the end of articles, place it on your blog sidebar, anywhere provided that people can see it. A great way to get subscribers is through this plugin. It basically adds a completely customizable pop-up window to your WordPress blog. All users who are about to close their browser window and leave your blog will see that. You know, pop-ups simply work. Many people hate them because they believe they are intrusive and annoying, but this plugin here is not intrusive at all. Trust me, give it a try. Another strategy might be that of adding to your email signature a link to your sign-up page. You can also collect emails in person if you attend events, but obviously make sure you have permission to do so. Okay, now you know how to collect emails and what kind of emails to send to your subscribers. But how can you technically create a list and send out email updates? You can use various services to do so, but my most favorite is MailChimp. MailChimp is totally free until you reach 2,000 subscribers, which is great to start off with. Just like WordPress, MailChimp is incredibly popular on the web, and there are so many awesome tutorials to learn how to use it. Check out the lecture resources for a list of links to my favorite ones. One last tip I want to leave you with is select your subscribers. Having a limit of 2,000 subscribers for the free plan means that each subscriber has a cost for you if you go above that amount, so be selective. We said that you should be particularly authentic in your first email, and that's true also because of this. Don't try to appeal to everyone just because you want to grow your list. Do it smartly. Try to appeal to the right people, only to those that could potentially convert into actual customers. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this section, there are people who have actually made a living out of blogging, but to be honest, that's a pretty rare case. People think they can just quit their jobs and start a blog and become millionaires, but that's not the case. However, I do think that for you as an entrepreneur, running a blog can help you create an additional income stream. It's never bad to be able to make some money on the side, right? So let's see how to do it. There are two types of income you can generate thanks to your blog: passive and active income. Passive income makes money for you without any direct effort. For example, a book generates passive income because once it's written, it makes you money and you don't have to keep working on it. Active income instead requires direct, active efforts. My opinion is that the expression passive income is not really right because it's not really passive. Writing a book or producing anything that is worth spreading, anything that will guarantee a steady flow of income, requires a lot of work. However, for the sake of simplicity, I will keep referring to it as passive income, but please don't see it as some kind of get-rich-quick type of thing. Let's look at some examples of passive income. Through affiliate marketing, you earn a commission by promoting other people's products. You can find a product you like, you promote it to others, and earn a piece of the profit for each sale that you make. What is so great about affiliate marketing is that you don't have to invest the time and effort to create your own product. Please know that you can only do great profits with your affiliate marketing if your users trust you. If they don't, they will not buy something just because you recommend it. Nurture your relationship with your readers and build trust. If you think affiliate marketing could be a good option for you, take a look at ClickBank and see whether there is something you could use. Probably the most popular idea of how to make money online is and will always be advertising banners. You can create an AdSense account and start putting Google banners all over the place, but to be honest, you'll see that unless you seriously have hundreds of thousands of visitors per week, you won't get any real profit from it. Moreover, AdSense banners tend to give your site a sort of spammy look. You might have understood that I'm not a huge fan of Google AdSense. If you want to promote something on your blog, do it smartly. Seek out for sponsorship opportunities. Fashion bloggers make most of their money reviewing clothes, shoes, accessories, and that is exactly what you should do. Well, not necessarily with clothes, but you get the point. If your blog is about food recipes, contact, for example, a producer of olive oil and ask them if they will be interested in paying you and sending you some of their product in exchange for some special mention of the product on your blog. Maybe you might charge an extra amount if for a specific period of time you will not mention any other type of olive oil and just use theirs. If you're a travel blogger, you can contact a hotel and see if they're interested in having you there for one night and paying you for a review of your experience. There are many companies actively looking for bloggers that could promote their products, so you don't want to miss the chance of being approached by one of these companies. Make sure you have a sponsor page or work with me page in your blog and include the following information about your blog: number of monthly unique visitors, number of monthly page views, number of social media followers, your advertising policy. What kind of products are you looking to promote, or what kind of things you do not want to promote? Any other information that could be useful to a potential sponsor, such as what kind of specific market niche you are tapping. So these are the kind of information you should include. You might also have your very own product to sell, and if you don't, I'm sure you have valuable experience that people would pay for. Translate your experience into actual information and make this information available for a price, maybe in the form of an online program. Maybe you can just launch your own course on Udemy, or an ebook or a premium section on your website. There is a great plugin called Memberful that allows you to do just that. Many bloggers have made loads of money selling the so-called information products. But now let's see what kind of active income you can get from your blog. We said that a blog can give great exposure to your brand. This increase in exposure will open up so many great opportunities for you. Apart from increasing your customer base, you will start being perceived as an industry expert. So you might be invited as a speaker to events, and some people might be happy to pay you for a consultation, whether or not you position yourself as a consultant in the first place. Active income is anything that comes out of the fact that you are blogging and you get exposure from your blog. The bad thing here is that there is going to be a limit as to the number of people that can hire you for a consultation, or as to the number of events you can take part in as a speaker. With passive income, instead, you don't have this limitation. Successful bloggers do both, and this is a never-ending cycle. The more you do, the more people will spread your word, the more people will know about your work, and the more companies and customers will be willing to pay you. Now I have homework for you. Make a list of 20 companies you could contact to ask for a sponsorship. Try to be reasonable and honest with yourself. Which companies would seriously benefit from having their product or service promoted on your blog? Think about it and write down 20 names. So far, we've seen multiple tools that allow you to measure how you're doing on social media. Now it's time to put everything together and add some new pieces here and there. To measure your activity on Facebook, we learned how to master Facebook's Insights panel, because really all the information you need is there. We've looked at Twitter data using TweetReach and Topsy and learned to optimize our time and schedule tweets through TweetDeck. We've seen how to get useful data for your Instagram activity using simplymeasured.com. And now let's see other useful and free tools that you can use to monitor and then improve your results. You can use Social Mention to measure the so-called sentiment. Social Mention is a social media search and analysis platform that aggregates user-generated content from anywhere into a single stream of information. You can use it to check whether people are talking about you and what they're saying. SumAll is an all-in-one analytics tool. It combines a user's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Google Plus site into one dashboard, giving an overall picture of how social media users are reacting to their posts. But now enough with social media. Let's see how you can keep your blog activity under control. The best ever analytics tool for websites in general is Google Analytics. So visit google.com/analytics and explore its features. The quickest way to integrate Google Analytics to your blog is by installing a plugin called Google Analytics for WordPress by Yoast. If you want to go even deeper, download the Blogmetrics plugin by the same author. For more information about user engagement on your blog, you can install a plugin called Content Engagement for WordPress. I think now you have all the tools you need to measure your activity. But as you know, I love time optimization. So before ending this lecture, I want to point you towards another great tool you might use, that is Harvest. Harvest is an online time tracking software that allows you to understand how much time you are spending on each single task. Your time is valuable, so you should understand the best way to spend it. Try to use Harvest for some time, then check its reports and see how much time you spent updating your Facebook page, writing blog posts, or anything else. You might realize that you need to become faster at doing something. For example, if you use Photoshop for your graphics and that takes you a lot of time, try to save some time switching to Canva or PicMonkey. Adjust any activity to optimize your schedule. Now you have all your fantastic data about your social media and blogging activity. But how do you get the whole picture? How do you put them all together? With an analytics report. Producing an analytics report is all about identifying your KPIs, your key performance indicators. KPIs are business metrics used to evaluate factors that are crucial to your success. You need to have KPIs clear in your mind since the very beginning. Otherwise, you're not going to know what to measure and you get lost in analytics land. You'll also need to set a time frame that matters most to you. That might be 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, it's your choice. An analytics report is not just useful to yourself, but to anyone else that will have to check your results. If you want to present your data to a client or an investor, you need to produce a nice report that is readable and immediately understandable. My advice to you is to write. Don't just put numbers on it. This will help you understand what's going on as you are forced to organize ideas in your brain. Download the template, complete the file with your numbers and your text, and give it a try. Hey there, finally it's case study time. You got it, the superhero previously mentioned is no other than the amazing Batman. Definitely my favorite superhero. There have been lots of movies about his story, but today we talk about the third and final chapter of the Dark Knight trilogy. Christopher Nolan's movies are not just famous for being particularly mind-blowing, but also for being backed by an incredible social media marketing campaign. The social media campaign for The Dark Knight Rises has been crowned Best Social Media Campaign Ever by various movie and business magazines, and it certainly helped the movie gross over $1 billion in box office sales worldwide. The first thing to point out is that the movie was the third installment of the trilogy, which, as anything else, comes with both pros and cons. On the one hand, the film could already rely on a solid fan base. On the other hand, the expectations were incredibly high, thus the team was under a lot of pressure to succeed. The impressive social media campaign was launched 12 months before the release of the movie, with the opening of a website presenting nothing but a cryptic audio file. The marketing team knew very well that some Nolan's fans, during one of their sleepless nights anticipating the movie release, would use some complex audio editing software to decipher the file, discovering the secret sentence that was "The Fire Rises." It didn't take long for fans to realize that The Fire Rises was actually a Twitter account containing a link to another enigmatic website inviting users to tweet the hashtag The Fire Rises until a picture of the movie would be unlocked. The mysterious image turned out to be a mosaic photo of the villain of the movie composed of the profile pictures of all the fans who tweeted hashtag The Fire Rises. This type of experiential marketing proved to be incredibly effective, so they decided to keep following this direction for the subsequent trailer release. Fans had to upload pictures of Batman-related graffiti all over the world on Twitter, unlocking a frame of the new trailer with each picture. But they didn't just launch the challenge like that. They put it into a specific context. A fictional file for a criminal investigation was posted on thedarknightrises.com, containing a warrant for the arrest of John Doe, also known as the Batman. A fake press release explained that Batman led graffiti drawings of bats around the world and people should submit photographic evidence by Twitter or email. The full trailer was unlocked in a matter of hours. You might have noticed one thing. Surprisingly enough, there was no official Twitter account for The Dark Knight Rises. Warner Bros. Focus was mainly on Facebook. They let fans create the conversation on Twitter. This is a fantastic example of efficient use of resources. Remember we said that you should never spread too thin? Instead of creating an average presence on both social media, they focused on just one and they did something epic. Their incredible The Fire Rises campaign created positive spillovers that generated an incredible viral buzz on Twitter without the need for a direct investment. This is something all companies should learn from. It is better to concentrate on just one social media and use available resources to create something that is memorable. It's not about quantity, again, it's about quality. This campaign is also a fantastic example of cross-media convergence. They didn't just use the internet, they created actual graffiti all over the world for people to take pictures of. Movie artworks would include the campaign hashtag. They mix the online and offline experiences to create something that is just outstanding. You may not have the resources and the permission to just go and draw graffiti with your company logo all over the place, but you can certainly come up with some idea that will put your campaign into context, that will amplify your customer's experience and make it unique. Last but not least, they created a community of people who had to fight together for the same goal. I found a comment online by a user who said, "The Fire Rises is so awesome, I will tweet just to be part of this historical moment." Could any company hope for more than that? Could you hope for more than that? Now, follow anything that you've learned throughout this course, apply it, and create your own historical moment.